This is going to be done a little bit differently. It's not tied to an issue directly, but this is about changing frequency using the digital radio controller. There is a one-line change that's required, and that's under the stop underscore config. We're going to use the controller unlock all on the stop config. So when you stop the config, it's going to unlock all the properties that are in the config lock to clear them up, so that when you start it again, it's able to do so. So that's just the one line you need to add. And then in your ACI application, so this is an example of an OpenCPI application control interface, ACI. It's a C++ application and uses the OCPI API. It's going to be application, or basically just referencing the XML. I'm here using the FSK modem app as an example. So you initialize it. This is just dumping the initial properties, and then you start the application. So you initialize, start. So this is the properties. We're going to need to use the start, stop, release, prepare. They don't really need you don't really need release. And then we're just going to wait 5 seconds. I think it's in microseconds. And then this is where we stop. Let's see. So part of the XML is starting the first config, the initial config in the DRC. But this stop right here, because we said stop is the application DRC stop. This stop, we're setting the value to 0, so we want to stop the 0 configuration. And while it's stopped, we're going to set the value. So under configs, so this property configs, it's getting that information from the configurations. Setting the value to 3 megahertz up. And this is for the transmitter, for the tuning frequency. After we've set that configuration, so we're updating that value, we're going to re-prepare it, or prepare it again. So prepare, set value. I'm preparing config 0. And then once that, we can start it back up. And then we'll wait 5 seconds, and then application stop. So that's a quick rundown of an application control interface, and I'm using just the FSK modem app that we use as an example. So we move to our E310. So this is, I'm running it in network mode, meaning that there's an NFS server on my host, and I'm using the E310 to access that the NFS server. I'm just going to show my environment variables. So the library path, core artifacts, assets, platform artifacts, and you can't see it. I don't have it wrapped around, but it's OSP, the E310 OSP artifacts and the platform artifacts. And I'm already, it's going to mount it. Let's see, PWD. It's going to mount it, the OpenCPI tree on mount net. So under projects, applications, I created the DRC test just to have this ACI, but again, it's using the same information from the FSK modem app. So when you have an ACI, you have to compile it, cross-compile it for the embedded, to run on the embedded system. To do so, I've already done it before. I think I have it here. Just using the OCPI dev build RCC platform. And that's going to create this target directory. And that's what I'm accessing on the E310. So it's the same information, target, and I'm just going to run it. And you'll see on the spectrum analyzer that it starts at 1 point, and then after 5 seconds, it's going to move 3 megahertz up. There it is. So this is just an example of the transmitter changing frequency using the digital radio controller. Again, we'll try to get that into RC2. If not, it's going to be in 2.1.0. And this doesn't have the application stops at N, so this is an example of what it looked like if it didn't, when it doesn't. But that's already fixed for RC2.